Hi everyone. So the LMS I chose to explore is called Moodle. I chose Moodle because it is geared towards K through 12. Seems like it would work for a 5th grade level class, and it is also a free and open source learning management system. It was made by Martin Dugiamas, who is based in Australia, about 23 years ago. So it has been up and running for quite a while. When you first go onto that sandbox link that was posted in the directions over here, you'll be sent to this page. And it's a nice welcome page. It gives you some demo accounts based on the role that you want to try. The only catch is that the site resets the content every hour, so it doesn't save any of the test stuff that you put in there. However, you can keep sandboxing and trying new things for as long as you want. Over here, you can see it's pretty basic: profile, grades, calendar, messages. The private files and reports I don't think would really be necessary for someone in my position, but it's there if you need it. I would start with adjusting my profile, putting in a picture, which I did try to do this, but it got reset. I would put in a picture, change my name, change all the bio stuff, just so that students can see who I am. The grades section is based on each course. I don't usually use the grade book that is embedded inside of learning management systems because the schools that I teach at always require me to input my grades into another system. So I don't know how I feel about it. It would be nice if it could be integrated into the school's grading system, but it's never been the case for me. You can also look at your participants, all the students and other teachers or administration that are in your class. You can see when they last accessed the course. And you can also see a lot of other activity details like that. So it's right in the center of, right there for everyone, for you to see, which I think can make it easy for us to judge students if they're not taking as much time as other students. But just like we learned in the second week, I think, the time tracking isn't everything. Learning can happen outside of the course. Posts and replies don't necessarily mean that that student is getting any more than other students. However, I will say that extreme examples where maybe your student is only logging on for an hour a week, I would say that's a good sign that something's wrong. So Sam's student, for example, hasn't been on for a long time, so I would be concerned about that. So yeah, there's the dashboard, the timeline and calendar, pretty straightforward. And then you have your courses. So the first course is organized by topic, whereas the second course is organized by time. And so if it was up to me, I would probably organize it in the same way that the second course is organized. And this is how our class is organized too. It's kind of like a mix between time and content. For me, I would probably just do time because the content would be separated according to each subject, because I would be teaching the 4 subjects. So these are just some generic subjects that we might see in 5th grade. But yeah, the LMS basically allows the teacher to do whatever they want with it. You can add an activity or resource for each thing. And some of these text, let me show you the assignment here. It seems pretty simple, it's just some text and the assignment name, but what I found is that this can actually be pretty in-depth. If you mix in formatted text with a recording or a video or some links, you can actually make a pretty thorough assignment just from these tools here. You don't need much else if you're just trying to post an assignment for your class. like especially like the recording. I think that would be interesting. I don't know if how useful it would be for like higher level learning, but it could be cool for like a fifth grade level class, especially if a student is still recognizing word sounds and is not like maybe not comfortable reading yet. At the beginning, you don't want to scare them away with just like a block of text. However, I will say that in terms of interactive content, the way that they do it here is you have to send a file into the LMS. And I don't think that this is the best way to do it because, practically speaking, you know, for me, we have our curriculum that already has interactive content available online for math and reading and science and social studies, all four, because that's modern curriculum now. They always have online variants. And so if I wanted to have interactive content on the LMS, I would just send a link to that through the school's account. Of course, if I was to just bare bones an LMS with like no curriculum like that, I would have to put in my own file types, my own files, in which case they often have this. Let me show you here. So if I wanted to do like this, if I wanted to do maybe like an interactive activity where it's like you click and drag something and you're trying to use like some sort of online manipulative or something like that, they will give you this link, build with tiny MCE, which is right here. So this LMS will basically suggest that you get info from outside of the LMS to put in here. So if you are trying to get an interactive content, you might go to this website. If you wanted to put in your own book, let's say you wanted to have like a textbook that is like the core of the course, you would have to paste in the HTML onto this website. But practically speaking, I think most schools will have their own curriculum, and nowadays curriculum always has an online version, so that would probably be the way that it would be done. And then this would be just kind of like the hub for all of that. Maybe like announcements, maybe some assignments on here. You know, you still want to have that element of collaboration and communication to support social learning. So maybe you could do like group projects where all your students contribute to make a wiki. I thought this was pretty cool. Or just do like a forum post, or maybe like a glossary. Maybe they can make like a glossary in preparation for a science activity where they need to know all of the vocabulary. You could still do a lot of stuff on the LMS itself. But yeah, I think of this more as like a hub for all the stuff for announcements and everything else like that. So I think the pedagogical value just comes from what the teacher puts in there. It's kind of making you do the heavy lifting, but it definitely doesn't prevent you from putting anything in the way that you want. It's just kind of more work. The strength is that it's open source and easy to get started. Not much of a tutorial is needed. And yeah, I think the weakness is just that some of the interactive elements feel like afterthoughts and don't really feel like they are very practical to be used. So I would say that if it was me, I would just use other websites, like maybe like a link to another website if I wanted them to have some sort of interactive element. I would probably not try to spend the time embedding some sort of interactive thing inside of the LMS. In fact, they actually did have something on here that was based on a outdated plugin that did not work anymore. I don't think it's here anymore. But, you know, it's just those sorts of things, just like you're kind of like begging for some sort of bug or something to not work. So I don't think I would do that. And then if I was to do it with my own course, like I said, I would organize it by week. I wanted to show you guys, this is like my actual weekly plans. So it just translates really well like that. based on each subject and each week. But yeah, that's it. That is Moodle. Interesting, simple, open source LMS. Kind of just fun if you want to try things out without too much restraint. All right, thank you guys.